guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, it is July 18th. We're going to hang out and do an ESPN PPR Mock Draft. We're going to be drafting in the 8th spot today, a 12-team full PPR league over on ESPN. And we got some friends with us in the chat room that will also be drafting with us. So welcome to the stream, Harris. Looks like Harris is in the 9th spot. And then Aiden, as always, is going to be in the 5th spot. So we'll see what we can cook up with these spots here. But, hey, we're just getting started here. It's going to be 30 seconds before this thing starts. And, yeah, let's just have fun. This is my 8th ESPN mock draft. I've done spots 1 through 7. If you want to check out the playlist, I'm probably going to link it in the comments below or something like that. So check out that. If you guys do need, picks 1 through 7, go back and watch those videos. And then, yeah, we're going to continue to do at least one ESPN live stream mock the rest of the way, and we'll get all the spots done 1 through 12. And then if you guys do need any custom spots or mock drafts, let me know. I can do ESPN, Yahoo, Sleeper. We tried NFL.com last weekend. That was kind of fun. So let me know what you need. Draft spots, team numbers, scoring system, platform, all that good stuff. But we're underway. Let me kind of just do a little bit of maintenance zooming in here. The picture coming in here at the bottom looks like Justin Jefferson, the first player off the board, which I feel is the correct move in full PPR formats. Austin Eckler at number 2. So we're moving and grooving here. Let me just kind of zoom in and make some of my boxes a little bit better for you guys. But anyways, I'm having fun. We got rookies reporting to camp today. I saw a handful of teams did that. Next week is going to be the big week where all the teams start reporting veterans and things like that. We're going to have joint practices starting in a couple weeks. I'm excited. It's feeling like football season, guys. So it's a lot of fun. It looks like after Austin Eckler went at 2, you got Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey to Aiden there at number 5, and then Travis Kelce at 6. We're on deck here. I did put Tyreek Hill as the cover guy. He was supposed to be the 8th ranked player. He goes number 7th overall. So I'm on the board here, and it's telling me that running backs are the best available. The top 4 picks here are running back. Bijan, JT, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. I'll tell you what, I'm going to lock in Bijan Robinson. I'm super comfortable with him being my running back 1 in the 1st round this year. And let's see. Aiden asks, why is Addison ADP climbing? I'm not quite sure. In the best ball drafts that I do, he's kind of like an 8th or 7th. He's kind of like a 7th round pick. Right now, he's at 120. We'll watch for him and see where he's going. Again, best ball, he's a mid to late 7th round pick on ESPN here. They are a little bit late on him at 120 overall. So I do think he needs to climb up in ESPN's rankings. Now, he's probably best as like your wide receiver 3 flex, or a guy, the first player off your bench. I think that sounds pretty good. There's a lot of competition for targets. Obviously, playing next to Justin Jefferson's going to ding you. Also have TJ Hawkinson, who I have as the number 2 target guy there. So he's kind of the number 3, number 4 target, based on what happens with KJ Osborne in a given game. So I like Addison. I think he's a guy that I want to put on my bench, though, and not necessarily rely on him as a starter week 1. But after I took Bijan, Harris goes Derrick Henry. Good pick there in the 1st round. Stephon Diggs, Jonathan Taylor, and A.J. Brown close out the 1st round. Nick Chubb, beginning of round 2. Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. What do you guys think? I'm curious, Aiden, Harris, what are your guys' read on Saquon and Josh Jacobs? I know it's July 18th. In a month from now, these players might have reported to camp and signed new deals. Not quite sure what to think of Saquon and Jacobs. I'm not super excited about their situations, but we'll see. But either way, I'm back up on the clock. I'm looking at Devontae, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. I got 20 seconds real quick. I think, I got CeeDee Lamb ranked as a 1st round caliber player. So I'm going to grab my top ranked wide receiver here. And I'm just concerned with the Raiders, guys. Even if it's Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs seems like more likely to hold out, like to actually miss some games in the NFL. Like, I think Barkley can get a deal done with the Giants. I think he's going to be able to play week 1 and at some point report to camp. And yeah, kind of like what Aiden just said here. I like Barkley. I think Barkley in the round 2 is good. Jacobs round 2, pick 3. I mean, if your home league is drafting, before Jacobs has signed, I don't know if I can take Josh Jacobs. Same thing with kind of Barkley too. That it really makes me nervous. I just don't like the stink of the Raiders offseason, man. it just seems like they're in for a pretty bad season. They're not paying Jacobs. Devontae Adams is frustrated. Don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play. There's just a lot of questions on the Raiders right now. If Jacobs plays and signs, like, yeah, we like him. But I think there's just too much unknown right now with the Raiders and how Josh Jacobs is going to handle. But I do feel like the Giants are going to get Barkley happy. They need him this year. They're a team that's going to make the playoffs and compete for a wild card or NFC East division. But we're on the clock here. We got Bijan, CeeDee Lamb. Top receivers are Higgins, Devonta, Najee, Jones. I'm probably looking purely at Higgins and Devonta Smith. I do believe I have Devonta Smith ranked a little bit higher. I got Devonta as my 23rd ranked player here. T. Higgins down here a little bit at 30. So I'm going to stick to my board. I'm going to go with Devonta Smith to be my wide receiver 2, which feels pretty good. CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith, and then I got Bijan Robinson. Let me take a look here. I'm just curious to see, what did Harris end up doing? He's got Henry, Pollard, and T. Higgins. Pretty well balanced start. It looks like week 7 is going to be as high as bye week hell for him, but that's okay. I don't care about bye weeks in redraft. It's fine. If you lose a game, you lose a game. And then Aiden, he started at the 5 hole. He got CMC. He came back with Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is a fantastic round 2 pick. And then Chris Olave. And Harris has Higgins at 10. Is that wide receiver 10 or is that wide receiver 10 or 10th overall? I would bet wide receiver 10. I like Higgins. I think he looks best as a wide receiver 2 on your squad here. He would probably need Jamar Chase injury to truly break out. But we're back on the clock here. You got Bijan, Lamb, and Devonta. Keenan Allen's out there. I can get quarterbacks here: Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't mind grabbing one of these pieces. Otherwise, Keenan Allen is there. I'm just going to grab the top player here, and it's Keenan Allen for me. He's the top receiver available here. I'm getting a really good piece of the Chargers offense. I do have Keenan Allen as my 37th ranked player here, so I have him basically a really solid wide receiver too. And when he played last year, he was pretty dynamite. So yeah, Harris has him at wide receiver 10. I like Higgins. Again, I just think he looks best as a wide receiver too. Round 3 price to pay on Higgins, I'm fine with it. And especially like if you want to stack him with Joe Burrow, that would have been a pretty good move there too. If he's still out there, I'm not sure he's going to make it back to us, Harris, but I do like Higgins. But I think I'm all in on Jamar Chase this year. So if I had to pick one, I'm willing to spend the 2nd, 3rd, 4th overall pick on Jamar Chase. But we're moving here. Let me go back to the pick history. Let's see. After I took Devonta and Harris took Higgins here, you have Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Dameon Pierce. I like Dameon Pierce, but at 36, that seems to be a little bit rich. Rashad White at 37, another pick that seems a little bit rich. Amari Cooper, Debo, DJ Moore. We got Keenan Allen here. Mark Andrews at 42. I like that spot. DeAndre Hopkins with Tennessee. I don't know I'm curious what you guys think about D-Hop in Tennessee. I think he's like a wide receiver 3 for me. Lamar Jackson, Chris Godwin. Aiden snagged Lamar Jackson there at 44. That's a good pick. Godwin, Watson, Walker, and Joe Burrow to finish out the 4th round. And we're moving into the 5th round right now. There's Deontay, TJ Hawk, Miles Sanders, Darren Waller at 52. And then Aiden just can't resist the Calvin Ridley round 5, which is, I like Ridley in round 5. I do like Christian Kirk, I think in round 6 or 7 as well, but that's pretty good value. And I don't know what my feelings are on DeAndre Hopkins in the 4th round here. Like, I'm taking Keenan Allen, Mark Andrews, Lamar. I'm taking a lot of these players instead. So I'm not super in on DeAndre Hopkins here. I'm open to it, but I think there's better values. But we're up to pick here. We've got a lot of interesting names on the board here. We just missed Justin Herbert, so that's a bummer. Need a running back too. Evans, McLaurin, Judy. There's J.K. Dobbins. I do like Dobbins a lot. I'm going to play the game here and see. I'm going to take J.K. Dobbins. I want a piece of that offense. J.K. Dobbins as my running back too. Feels pretty good. He's one of my favorite picks in this year in the late 5th or early 6th round. If you look at what he did at the end of last year when he was healthy, he was getting double-digit carries. He only had 1 touchdown, but he still put up 18, 13, and then 2 kind of 5.9 and 9.3 games. That's his floor. I do like Dobbins a lot here, and then we'll see what we can get as we're waiting for Harris to make his pick. Harris grabbed DeAndre Swift, round 5, pick 9. Mike Williams, Mike Evans, McLaurin, Justin Fields, 6.1. There's Kittle. There's Alexander Madison. And I can't stop drafting Ridley. It's bad every mock. Round 5 is a really good price for him. I'll let you know where I have him in a second here. But I'm up to pick Bijan Dobbins at running back, CD, Devonta, and Keenan Allen. I'm going to grab another flex player here. It looks like Jerry Jeudy's probably a pretty good pick. I don't know if I want to dabble with London. I do like Montgomery quite a bit here too. I'm going to grab David Montgomery to be my running back 3, to just mess with him as my potential flex. Or if I don't like Dobbins, I can swap Montgomery in there. Montgomery is one of those guys that I'm really, really high on. And with Ridley, I have Calvin Ridley as my, where is he? Where is Calvin Ridley? I have him as my 36th ranked flex player. And then for my wide receiver rankings, I have Calvin Ridley. I'm kind of right there. He's my wide receiver 20. I think he's a really solid wide receiver 2 this year, and you can get him relatively cheap in our drafts right now. So I think that's a good pick. But guys, I'm super excited about David Montgomery. I got him up here at RB18, and to me, like, I know I have him probably ranked higher than I should, but I have him as a 4th round grade. So I'm coming around to David Montgomery being a really, really good pick this year. Let's see what we got. So we just made our pick of David Montgomery to be our RB3, James Conner, Cam Akers, Jerry Jeudy to Aiden Tobin there, Deshaun Watson, Pacheco, Christian Kirk, and Dallas Goedert round out the 6th round. Beginning of round 7, you got Dalvin Cook, Michael Pittman Jr., Kyle Pitts, Jahan Dotson, and man, Drake London, man. You got Drake London and Jerry Jeudy here, round 6, round 7. That's really good wide receiver value at this point in the draft. Alvin Kamara here, if you're interested in seeing where he goes, he's a 78th overall pick. We're on deck, though. Trevor Lawrence is on board if I want to get a piece of Jacksonville. Brandon Cooks, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Thomas, James Cook, Jacoby Myers, George Pickens, Jackson Smith, and Najigba. I'm not super excited about much of this, but I kind of want to take Trevor Lawrence here. Locking myself into like a top 8 quarterback. He's going to have some top 5 weeks, and I don't have any Jags on my team yet. I don't know if I need to, but I'll grab Trevor Lawrence here and lock him in as my top. I mean, dude was QB7 last year, and now you're adding Calvin Ridley to the mix. He did kind of tail off, the last 2 games, but I'm not overly concerned about that because dude's got some big potential. He had a couple big games with the 25 down here, a 20. He really came on strong after the bye week. After the bye week, you see 24, 16, 33, 26, 18, and then he did have a dud in the championship weekend. But I'd like taking a shot at Trevor Lawrence here. I think that's a good spot in the, what round was that? That was the 7th round? 7th round. And then Harris grabs Samaje Perine, who I'm pretty high on. I think he's a guy that you can basically plug him in as your running back to the first month of the football season and see where it goes. JSN at 82, another good rookie to stash. Dak Prescott, Pat Freiermuth, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Thomas, Evan Ingram. Harris grabs Antonio Gibson, one of my favorite sleeper running back picks here. I got some guys that I like here. I like James Cook on my bench. I like George Pickens on my bench. I'm still in on Treylon Burks. I'm just curious to see how far he falls in this mock draft. I'm going to land on James Cook. Again, I'm pretty excited about James Cook. I think he's a guy that's going to get more work than people expect. I fully expect him to be the receiving back. And if you look at the last part of last year, when he got double-digit carries, you see 11 carries against Cleveland, he had 86 yards. 14 carries against the Patriots, 64 yards, and 6 for 41 as a receiver. And then he had a couple of nice games here, week 15 and 16 against Miami and Chicago. Scored touchdowns. With him, I'm hoping that he is the 8 to 10 ball, 8 to 10 rushing attempts. And if he gets 3, 4, 5 targets per game, I'm going to like James Cook off the bench. So we have 4 running backs. We have 1, 2, 3 receivers. I need some receivers. Aiden says it's time to load up on RBs. Yes, sir. And Penny is flying up the rankings. Penny's one of those guys where when we get closer to training camp, he might be moving up everybody's rankings. I'm seeing some receivers that I still like out there. Rashad Penny, man, I think he's a guy that you want to put on your bench to start the year and just see where it goes. I believe he's the best runner of the Eagles running backs. I think Swift is the best pass catcher. I'm just not sure how it's going to, shake down. I wouldn't mind grabbing another running back here, whether it's B-Rob or Jamal Williams. I do like Rondale Moore, Cortland Sutton, Gabe Davis are some nice pieces as well. I'll tell you what, we got 10 seconds to do the job. I'm just going to collect Cortland Sutton, just a good piece on the Broncos offense. I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. And that's my problem. And I've talked with Harris a lot about DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift, but I just don't think they're going to give. They have Swift, Penny, Gainwell, and Scott. I don't think any of those running backs are going to get the Miles Sanders treatment that he got last year. I think they're all going to have their certain roles. It's probably going to be frustrating to start one of those guys every week. I'm struggling to see which running back is going to get all the touches that Sanders got. And I think the easy answer is that no one is. You're going to have to basically hope and pray for a touchdown that week if you start them. But we're up to pick. I do want to reach on Sky Moore here because I think this is the Chiefs receiver you guys want to draft this year. I know he didn't do a very good rookie season for us, but the early report from minicamp, a month ago was that he's going to be the starting slot receiver, and that's a role that Juju Smith-Schuster racked up a ton of targets with, and I think Juju still ended up as a wide receiver 3 last year. So I'm not taking Kadarius Toney this year. I'm more interested in Sky Moore, especially because he's cheaper than Kadarius Toney, and if my money is basically Travis Kelce. Obviously, is the guy there, but the guy that's probably going to be more consistent and be number 2 in wide receiver receptions and targets. It's probably, I think right now the edge is Sky Moore. So before training camp starts, I think you want to keep your eye on Sky Moore here. But let's see what else we got. I have 1, 2, 3 spots left on the bench. I do need some more wideouts. I need a tight end yet. I haven't even thought about tight end in this draft. I can get Higbee, Zach Ertz, no thanks, Juwan Johnson. I like Everett, Dulcich. We're probably going to grab a couple guys here, but I'm starting to see the benefit of grabbing a tight end early because I really don't like these options. I think it's pretty ugly here. I should have probably pulled Evan Ingram or something like that to get some Jags with my Trevor Lawrence, but it's really ugly here late at tight end. I could grab maybe one more receiver here, and then maybe we look at tight end because I'm not seeing any tight ends that stick off the board here. We can probably play chicken on the tight end game. But let's go ahead and grab Nico Collins, who I believe is the number 1 receiver on the Houston Texans. And again, just another quality depth piece for us. We got CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith, and Keenan Allen as our top 3 wideouts. The guys on the bench, Sutton, Sky Moore, Nico Collins. One of those guys should be a hit for us if we need to call upon a wide receiver 4. And we got 4 good running backs. We got Bijan, JK, David Montgomery, and James Cook. I'm feeling good about that. We might take a high upside rookie pick at some point here, but we'll evaluate that. I'm still not loving the tight ends. We could just grab Juwan Johnson or Gerald Everett. Everett was somewhat inconsistent last year. He's 7 to 8 points most of the time here. Aiden's saying don't think about it, so I'm not sure who he's thinking about here. I kind of want to grab Zay Flowers though, because Flowers, he could be a league winner. I'm gonna grab Zay Flowers, and then my final 2 picks will be tight end. So I don't know if I got him, but otherwise I'm not sure who Aiden was looking for here. There's some good running backs out there. I saw Harris grab Jalen Warren. We're gonna review your teams, Harris and Aiden. We'll review your teams after the draft here. It's almost done. But there's some good running backs here. My favorite tight end, my favorite tight end is that Mr. Okonkwo. I was waiting for him. I might have to do it now, but it looks like Aiden got to him first. I waited on tight end, and I'm not too upset with this. I can plug in Juwan Johnson here. I'll grab him as one of my tight ends. I think Juwan Johnson's in for a decent season. I know he's going to be inconsistent, but he does have touchdown upside there with Derek Carr. They're talking him up and saying that he's been watching Julian Edelman tape, which could be a nice role. I do view him as the 3rd best receiving option on that team, or he's kind of tied with Rashid Shaheed. But at tight end at this point, man, we're just going to kind of figure it out along the way. I have one more open roster spot here. So if I get Everett, looks like I missed out on Everett. That's fine. I do like a tight end down here that hasn't been drafted. I like Trey McBride a lot. He's one of my favorite end game targets for tight end. But otherwise, it looks like someone's kind of sneaking through here that I think probably needs to be ranked a lot higher. And I know he's a guy that has been frustrating so far throughout his career, but he's still pretty young and he's attached to one of the best offenses in the league. I want to take a shot on him, and good pick there by Harris snagging Brock Purdy. I'll grab Irv Smith here, and we'll have a competition between Juwan, Irv Smith. If one of these guys doesn't work, we'll find a tight end off the waiver wire or make a trade. So that's it. That is my team. it's going to make me pick a defense and kicker. I really don't give a damn about the defense and the kicker. I'll grab one of the top rated ones here and we'll call it a day. But that's it. That's the draft. I'm going to recap my spots here. We got Trevor Lawrence as our QB1. Running backs are Bijan and J.K. Dobbins. I like that group. If anything happens to one of those guys, we can pull up Montgomery or James Cook. I only have 4 running backs here, but I feel pretty good about that 4. I'm just going to grab the Ravens defense. Let's see. Receivers, we got CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith, and Keenan Allen as our top 3. Off the bench, we got Sutton, Sky Moore, Nico Collins, and Zay Flowers. So I think that's a pretty good 4-man bench rotation. Tight end, again, it's Juwan Johnson and Irv Smith. We'll figure that out along the way. A lot of times, I'm starting to think that I want a top 8 receiving tight end. I want to invest in a tight end this year. I think that's where I'm going to probably end up advising people. And then with kicker here, I don't care. Just give me Greg Joseph, Vikings kicker, sure. But that's it. That's the mock draft. Let's take a peek here. Let's look at Aiden's team from the team 5 hole. He started, he's got Lamar Jackson as his QB1, Christian McCaffrey, and Javonte Williams at 2. So CMC, Javonte is top 2 running backs. His top 2 receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown and Chris Olave. I like that duo a ton. Chig Okonkwo in the tight end 1 spot, and Calvin Ridley in the flex. So I really like this lineup here, and we're going to need someone to compete with Javonte Williams at the beginning of the year. It looks like his backup running backs are Charbonnet, Damian Harris, Elijah Mitchell, and Tyler Algier. So it looks like Aiden got plenty of running backs here on the bench to compete for running back 2 duties. And then the backup receivers look great. You got Judy as your 4, London as your 5, and Elijah as your 6. This is a really solid squad there, Aiden. Let's see. Harris ended up with Jared Goff as his QB1. His top 2 running backs are pretty sick, Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard. I'm kind of excited about Derrick Henry because with them signing DeAndre Hopkins, that to me means that like they think they can win the AFC South, and they're in it to win it. So I think that's a pretty good snag there on Henry and Tony Pollard to start the draft. Receivers are T. Higgins and DJ Moore. Tight end is Greg Dulcich. Flex is DeAndre Swift. Off the bench, he's going to have some flex potential from Tyler Lockett, Samaje Perine, and Antonio Gibson. I love those 3 picks because I could see those guys being moved up at some points if needed. Kadarius Toney, I like Kadarius Toney, but again, I think Sky Moore is probably the better pick. I just don't know if Kadarius Toney is going to stay healthy. I don't know. He's very, very unpredictable. I'm trying to see where he went. He went round 9, pick 9, so I don't hate the ADP. I think he's a guy that Harris, he's got Higgins, DJ Moore, and Tyler Lockett, with Toney being his number 4 receiver. He's also got Adam Thielen there. It's a nice option to have on your bench, I suppose. I'm not really interested in Adam Thielen, though. He might be a guy that helps you to start the year. But again, he's like 32 years old. I think there's probably younger, better options I'd rather have on my bench. But I love Jaylen Warren and Brock Purdy on this bench here. So far, so good, though. Harris had a pretty nice, solid draft. And that was it from the group here. So that's it. That was the mock draft. I think next week we're going to return back to our Wednesday evening mock draft here. So we'll get back on the schedule. And yeah, training camps are back. This was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me in this one. I'm going to the Gibson pick, man. Gibson needs to be going a lot higher on ESPN full PPR, but hopefully we'll get that bump soon. But for now, I'm going to probably get my rankings updated by the end of the week on the site. We'll have rankings and projections. I want to get a top 150 going too. So there's going to be some new things. I have to refresh the site before training camp starts. So look forward to that. And enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. We'll see you in a future mock. Peace.